What's up? Welcome to Cameron+Deanna. My name is Cameron, and it is the end of 2025, which means it is time for our yearly look back at all of the games that I have played this calendar year. And so longtime followers will know we started doing this on a different site, and then moved over, I believe, last year to Backlogged. And it has been a fantastic changeover. I really enjoy Backlogged. And so we have these lists going back to 2022, taking a look at the games that I played. How's it going? I hope you are having a fantastic Sunday. I was going to say this for everybody, but for Try especially, what was your favorite game that you played this calendar year? Does not need to have been released this calendar year, but just one that you played. As we take a look at this, we'll see that I have played a shockingly low number of games that were actually released in 2025. This was a big backlog year for me. And so I am very excited to go and dive through. I always like doing these looking back type videos. And so this is going to be very fun. I enjoy talking through we're going to give like high level reviews. We're not going to necessarily go into a ton of details, but I'm going to do my best to be like, hey, here's the gist of the game. And here's what I didn't like or what I liked about it. And then Try says, favorite game would be Crime Scene Cleaner. Most played is always Fortnite. I got you. Oh, and that's a good segue. Something that you will not see on my lists are live service games, asterisk, unless it's their first year. So like last year, if we take a look at 2024, we had Marvel Rivals on this list. Like I have played some more Marvel Rivals in 2025, but it was not like, it's not going to be on the list again. And then kind of similarly, Magic the Gathering Arena. Even with my transition to playing a lot more Lorcana, Magic the Gathering Arena is still something that I play quite a bit. And so it won't be on the list because we just don't do live service games unless they're brand new. And then I will also say on our list for 2025, we do have games that like I haven't played a lot. There's a handful of games that I noped out of pretty fast for one reason or another. So I will, as always, I'm speaking to my experience with the game, not to the quality of the game as a whole. So if we look back at 2024, I think there was a game like that on here. Oh yeah, it was the Skull and Bones. That was our lowest ranked game of like, I booted up the demo. I think I played it for 20 minutes and then I noped out. And so there's that kind of examples there that we will not be seeing. Oh, that's right. Try you don't play BR. You play the unending story mode. And then while we're not strictly creating a tier list, this is something that we started last year where we actually like created a tier list after the fact of where games kind of shook out, like what was our S tier and etc. And so we will do that again as well. With 2025. And then I do also want to say once we're done, one of the other lists that I really like that we do is the games I'm keeping an eye on list. And so this is a list of games that we are interested in and want to just be looking at. And so we're going to go over, because Game Informer's right back. Let's go. Game Informer is back, so we have their list to go off of. So we're going to go through some of the games on Game Informer and chat through what we are looking forward to in 2025. Who knows how many of these we will actually play? For 2026. Who knows? Because I think I actually played only 3 of the games from my 2025 list, but we're going to go and take a look at this as well once we get through. So with all of that out of the way, let's go into our favorite games. Let's update our title. Now that this is a ranked list, I need to go back. Apparently I never updated the 2024 list of names, so I'll go and do that after the fact. But so, I should say here, my goal every year is to play around 50 different games just to get some good breadth. Having the 50 game goal also encourages me to play the games I get for free. So we're going to see a bit of that as we go through the list of, not only did I not play a lot of games released in 2025, I also didn't buy a lot of games, but we still played 40 games between free games on Epic and Steam, and then PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Plus game catalog. And so some great stuff there. And then, final ranking. Remember, rankings are subjective. This is my list for how I am feeling in the moment. So if this does not agree with your view, that is perfectly fine. You are allowed to have a different opinion. Ooh, Tri says BG3 was a close second for you. I talked about this last year. I really need to get into BG3. Deanna and I were playing a co-op campaign for a while, and that just kind of fell off because controller drift, and then I needed to get a new one, and by the time we actually got a new one, just didn't really get around to playing a lot. But I really need to go and get into BG3 and actually complete a campaign. So and then so let's go and chat through the games. And so the first game that I played this year is Austria Six-Sided Oracles. This is it's described as a dice building roguelike. If I look to the other screen, that's where my description of the games are. And so this was an interesting idea. I believe from my 2024 list. Oh, I'm going to try to put all the previous years in the description. We'll see if future Cameron remembers to do that, but hopefully he will. I believe at the end of 2024, I had been hey, this Balatro game, it's doing great and cleaning up. I need to go actually play this game. And it took over my life. And I think this game was free on Epic in January. And I was like, oh, cool. This is deck building, but with dice, and you're upgrading the dice. I'm going to like this game a lot. It's just fine. It's kind of a mix of Balatro meets Slay the Spire. It's probably actually closer to Slay the Spire. I say all of that. It's much more Slay the Spire than Balatro. But it's dice instead of cards. My issue with that is that since all of the dice are six-sided, it's kind of hard to prep for what you're going to get. And then a lot of the dice, it just felt like they were hey, 3 sides of this dice are the exact same of this die, are the exact same thing. So it's really we're flipping a coin. And so I think this is a cool idea. It's very fun. If you like Slay the Spire-esque games and want something that's similar but different, I would encourage you to go and check this out. But all of that said, it is not super impressive. And so it's going to stay here just because it's our first game. But was not super in love with that game. Obsessed with getting a 3D printer. Ooh. People saw on some of the Discords I'm in, I recently got a vacuum chamber, which means I'm going to start doing some resin crafts in the new year, as well as doing some additional home brewing. And so I'm very excited for hobbies in 2026. So the next game that we played was Heroes Hour. This is a kind of RTS style game where you are taking over locations. The locations that you take over are generating units for you, and you're kind of exploring the map and battling and stuff like that. It's a really fun idea. It kind of reminded me also a little bit of an auto battler. It's not an auto battler, but it kind of had those vibes where you are directing your units and telling them where to go, but then there's kind of this amount of you're not microing every single unit. And so it was a cool idea. The game felt a little light for me, just in terms of what you could do. I played a couple times and it kind of felt okay, we're done. But I felt like I got my fill of it and I enjoyed my time versus Asteria, where I was hey, I would not recommend you play this game if you don't love Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire is infinitely better. You should play that one. And then if you want something similar, play this. Heroes Hour, I think, is a really cool weekend game. of like download it, play it over the weekend, and then delete it on Monday. And I really enjoyed that like weekend with it. Locksteady, how you doing today?
Hello there.
Also want the resin ones, but don't have room to put it. Yeah, it can take up a ton of space for 3D printing. Locke, what is your favorite game of 2025? You can define favorite however you would like. It could also be multiple games. But let me know as we rank ours. So Hero Hour, I think I am going to leave it below Asteria. But yeah. Like I said, I would recommend Heroes Hour for a cool like weekend thing. Next up, we played Redacted. This is a fast-paced isometric roguelike. And so think like Hades, but it's like Hades, except it's like a shooter instead of like using weapons, like swords and stuff like that. So this game was the first, and we'll see this in a couple different places, is the first of games that like I should have just gone and played Hades. Like this game kind of falls into the same state and same trap of Asteria, of like it's clearly like kind of hitting the same vibes as a different game, and there's no reason you should play this over that other game. And so like wasn't huge on it, and it was just fine. Yeah, so that one's gonna sit. Whereas, as you can guess, unless the only qualifying games came out, no, it is games played in this calendar year, not games released in this calendar year. So, as you have your little Jeff emote thing, I assume we can go with Marvel Rivals for you, Locke. Next up, we had Shogun Showdown. So this is a turn-based combat game. It's roguelike, it's deck building. All the shoguns have like different vibes, and you're like moving them like left and right on a battlefield, kind of planning out your attacks against various enemies. Sometimes enemies will throw like ranged attacks or use magic to hit you from afar, but you always know what the enemy is going to do, and then you kind of plan for that. Practically the only game you played this year. Reasonable. Very reasonable. But Shogun Showdown was very fun. I really liked this game for what it was. There was some interesting, like, unlocking the new classes, and those classes could do different things of like, okay, this class dashes towards enemies and then deals them damage, whereas this class, when they dash towards an enemy, they swap spaces with the first enemy they hit. And so like there was some really interesting like different characters and different classes. And I really enjoyed this game. It's going to be our number one for now. So far we've kept games in like the order that we played them, but it's going to be our number one for now. This was free on Epic, and if you have this in your account and haven't played it, I definitely recommend you go check it out. It was a game that like I had not heard of prior to it coming out, but I played a lot more of this game than I thought I was going to. Actually, let me open my library on Epic. I'm like legitimately curious now. How much time did I put into this? Or did I not play it on Epic? Was this on Steam? Oh, it must have been on Steam, not Epic. Okay. Yeah, because I'm not seeing it. Okay, never mind. I can't as easily go and check how long I played. But, yeah, I really liked this game. Lock 5 streak. Thank you so much. Do I not have... Oh, for that stream streak. There we go. I was like, I guess that's not a default notification. I need to go and check that one, because I do think the stream streak thing, there we go, it's hard to say, is very cool. I need to see if I can add in like a group of emotes like we have with our celebration and dancing emotes for follows and subs. So I need to go and see if I can do anything with that. And see what Stream Elements will let us do. Next up, we have... I lost my window. Everything's messing up. I'm clicking all the wrong things, everyone. Okay. Next up, we had Turmoil. This was another free game. It's a simulation set during the 19th century oil rush in North America, where you are like bidding on property and then drilling oil for it. I believe we are friends on Steamlock. This game was a very interesting idea, and it hit the issue that I have with simulation games, which is sometimes they feel simmy to the point that like, okay, well, there's no way I could have known what was going on. And so that was definitely the vibe where like you would pick a location, then you have to hire people to come tell you where oil is. They would give you a general thing, but then you're kind of just setting up an oil thing and hoping you find a large pocket of oil quickly. Which I mean is kind of realistic, but like it just wasn't interesting and it felt too finicky. And so this is a game that like, I think I liked it more than Redacted, but like there's a gap here between Hero Hour and Turmoil. And then currently there's a gap here between Shogun and Astria, if we're thinking about tier list ideas. And so, yeah, so like it was okay. I played it a little bit, like 2 or 3 sessions, and that was good enough for me. Our next one, our first like AAA game of the year is Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. I had completely missed Ghost of Tsushima when it came out. For people that don't know, this is a third-person action game from Sucker Punch, and so it's a first-party PlayStation game set on Tsushima, the island of Tsushima in Japan, where you are fighting the Mongol invasion. And so I liked this game way more than I thought I would, just because I do not like Jin as a main character. I think he's super boring, and there's a little bit of like, and this is not a Ghost of Tsushima problem, but like there's a cognitive dissonance problem with protagonists in some PlayStation games. Nathan Drake is like the prime example of this, where like Nathan is like a good person who like murders hundreds of people over the course of that franchise, but never has any care, doesn't weigh on him. And like Ghost of Tsushima is kind of the same way, where the whole crux of the story is like, would you give up the ideals that you believe in to do what was necessary? And I loved the Ghost, like more ninja-y style gameplay, getting stealth, getting more like ranged attacks. I thought that was super interesting. But then in the story, Jin was just always so like, I am doing what I need to do. And I just like did not connect with Jin as much as I connected with the actual gameplay of the game. And so, spoilers for later on the list, I did not play Ghost of Yotei this year. I just didn't get to it because of when it came out, which ironically is the same thing that happened to me with Ghost of Tsushima. But I think I would like that one more. Because I think the protagonist in that one sounds like someone I would connect with from a storytelling perspective much more. But all of that being said, Ghost of Tsushima is still our number 1 game so far for the year for what we have played. I definitely recommend it. It's a very cool game. The combat system, sneaky coming in, Atsu is much better than Jin. That's what I've heard. And that's like, as someone like, I didn't like the combat system in Ghost of Tsushima to begin with, but by the time I finished the game, I loved it so much. And so like, if you can give me a gameplay like that with a story that I enjoy more, I know Atsu's gameplay is different than Jin's because of different weapons and stuff like that. But like, in terms of vibe, and I'm really excited to eventually go and play Yotei and kind of see how they stack up. Something I sincerely find fun is that the thing you're describing where the character's traits indicate they wouldn't do stuff they must do in service of the story is actually called ludonarrative dissonance. Thank you. Thank you. I was saying cognitive dissonance, and that was not the right thing. Yeah, ludonarrative. Thank you. Yeah, and that's like I said. I think like Nathan Drake is the prime example of how bad how much dissonance there can be for a character. And so yes, I was at least close. I had one of the words correct, and so I was halfway there. And so, but yeah, like I said, combat system amazing. One of the most beautiful games made. And so I'm excited to go and see Yote and see what how they adapt that and how things look. And so, Sneaky, as you're coming in, what was your favorite game that you played in 2025? Does not have to have been released in 2025. So, our next game, this is number 7, is Koromon. So this is I mean this in the best possible way. This is a Pokemon clone. They describe it as a modern monster taming game with retro pixel art. It brings immersive storytelling, strategic turn-based combat, and challenging puzzles to a classic genre. Koromon is super fun. I had played this. It actually might be on one of our other like past lists. As I think I'd played the demo or had played a beta for it or something like that. I really like Koromon. It's a game that like I want to spend more time with because it does a lot of things that like that I think mini Pokemon games should do, which is embracing how people actually play the game. So like you can do Nuzlocke within Koromon as like a built-in feature. And I think that that's super cool. The challenge I think of Koromon is that obviously like I don't care about this red tortoise thing the same way that I care about Charmander. Like, and that's never going to change. That's an issue even when we like with any type of monster taming game. And so Koromon is a game I want to play more of, but like I just never really got more time to go and play. And so I like this. We're going to currently set it in third behind Shogun Showdown. Panda Boy, speaking of which, coming in with the Charizard emote. But yeah, so I definitely recommend checking out Koromon if you're interested in like fans who love Pokemon that want to make a Pokemon game for them. I definitely want to recommend that. Panda Boy, what has been your favorite game that you have played in 2025? And let's catch up on chat. Locke says, I tried to go back and do Tsushima the second time, and the lead into Yote, and man, going back to the combat style was rough. Yes, yeah. Like, there's a lot of, like, this ability is on this menu in this slot. And, like, once you lose that, it's really hard to get it back. Still think it's incredible. Same arc as I did. Didn't like it at first, but man, it's a big change. Yes, yeah. Sneaky says, for favorite game, if you know me, then it's quite obvious. Claire Obscure. Nice. We will be talking about Expedition 33 later on in the list. And so, next up, we got Sayonara Wild Hearts. Ooh, I should pick before that. Panda Boy comes in with Oblivion Remake or Doom. Is that Doom the Dark World? The new one? The medieval style one. And so Sayonara Wild Hearts is a euphoric video game dream about being awesome, riding motorcycles, skateboarding, dance battling, shooting lasers, wielding swords, and breaking hearts at 200 miles per hour. Sayonara is a very cool it's a very cool like rhythm game. Sorry, I just had a complete brain fart in the terms of what was going on. That like is a very cool game that again, it's a great like weekend game because it's relatively short. Like I think you can probably Backlogged has it as like 2 hours to beat. And so like it's a great like one sitting game just to get through the game itself. And then there's a lot more if you want to like go back and like get the extras, do the behind the scenes stuff. And so it's the type of game I would 100% recommend people try out. I think we're going to set it. We're just keep moving things out of third place. We're going to set it there as like, again, a great experience, a great rhythm game that you don't have to be super rhythmy to really enjoy. So this is kind of like Hi-Fi Rush where like this one's more rhythm game than Hi-Fi Rush, but like it felt like it was relatively forgiving on like the default difficulty. I don't know if there's difficulty options. I assume there are, but like it was relatively forgiving in terms of like over the 2 hours. I think I only failed once or twice when it came to the rhythm side of things. So yes, Doom the Dark Age is nice. Locke, I'm not sure what you mean. I assume you saw what you were about to ask if I saw about Claire. I am not 100% sure. I'm not sure what you mean. But let me know. So Sayonara lands in number 3. Oh, the Indie Game Awards. When we get, where is Claire Obscure at? We're on row 4, right? 1. So we're here on Undying. So we have like 10 games to go. Yeah, we'll talk Indie Game Awards. And we will chat about that when we get there. Yes. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that once we get to it. So yeah, hold Indie Game Awards questions for that. So next up we have Undying. Also, I want to call out, again, we are almost, spoiler for 33 Immortals, we have, this is 10 games. So far, I have spent $0 for these 2 rows. And so, so Undying, infected by a zombie bite, Anling's days are numbered. She must now fight to survive, not for herself, but for her young son, Cody. Ensure Cody's survival in a zombie-infected world by protecting him, searching for safety, and teaching him valuable skills at any cost. This is a really cool idea. I really liked this, where like you've survived the zombie attack, but barely, and then like you're trying to protect your son. One of the issues that I had is that like when there was combat in this game, it didn't feel great, and so like it felt like, I think I played this. Was this last year as I go and click back? It's not. It must have been a previous year. Let me check 2023. There was a like cyberpunk style game that I played that had this exact same problem. Foreclosed. There we go. And so for me, Undying had the exact same problems, exact same issues I had with Foreclosed, which was that it didn't do enough to be an interesting, like, isometric shooter, but then it also didn't do enough to be a great, like, zombie survival sim, and it felt like it did both sides of that poorly. And so I just didn't really connect with this game for that reason. I think it's going to get moved up here above Turmoil. But it's the type of game that I could see like clicking for a very specific gamer. I am just not that gamer. And so next up we have 33 Immortals. This is from Thunder Lotus, the second time we're calling out a developer. I love Thunder Lotus. They're the makers of Sundered, which is a really good like action, like Metroidvania roguelike. And then Spiritfarer is kind of the game that really put them on the map for a lot of people. And 33 Immortals is a co-op action roguelike with 33 players. And so the idea is that it is like you're loaded into the map, and then you go and you have to, as a group, you go and you battle these objectives on the map, and you're leveling up, you're getting better. And then at the end of the run, there's like a big boss fight. So I played the open whatever, alpha, whatever. I think this must have been a beta. And then played a good amount of it. I really enjoyed my time with it. But it is it's a game that felt very repetitive because it was run-based, and I didn't feel like I wanted to keep doing runs. Like, again, like I haven't played full release, so like I can't speak to like what's currently in the game. But it is a game that like I enjoyed my time with it, but like it's just not something that will keep me around for a long time. I had the same like games as a service problem where like if I was locked to your point, still want to get around to 33 Immortals, like it's a game that like if I was streaming it with people and like we had a group and we were playing this together, I would have dug into this game so much and it would have been so much fun. But because I was playing solo, it just like wasn't really like, there wasn't enough incentive to keep wanting to do runs and keep getting better, I guess is like the way to boil that down. And so I think currently we're going to put it at number 5, below Coromon, above Asteria. It's a game I definitely recommend. Like I said, Sundered was so good. It really upsets me that a lot of people have not played Sundered that played Spiritfarer. Like, obviously they're completely different games, but like Sundered is so good. And like, there's not enough people that played Spiritfarer went back and played Sundered. Shout out to Sundered also. It was one of the, I think it was at my very first PAX East. There was a Sundered booth or Sundered like station in the PlayStation booth. And I was playing, and as I was playing it, I think I like said something out loud under my breath. And then somebody was like, "Oh yeah, you need to do blah, blah, blah." I'm like, "Oh, that's super cool. How, like, are you connected to the game?" And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, I'm the developer." And I was like, "Oh, just like the dev is just hanging out," which like makes sense. But like, just for there not being like a no line, just walk up and play the game if there's not people at the booth. I was not expecting to like for one of the developers to be there. And so it was a super cool experience. And is like probably Sundered is probably one of my favorite. I randomly played it at PAX games and, like actually connected with it. So like, it does, again, it makes me sad that not enough people have gone back and played Sundered, because I think it is way better than it gets credit for. Welcome back. Yeah, I was saying shout out to PAX East, because that is where I had played Sundered for the first time. So, okay, next up, game 11. We have Humankind. So this that was free on Epic like the weekend before Civ 7 came out, or like the weekend after Civ 7 came out, which was fantastic timing because this is a historical strategy game, a la Civilization. I love this style game. This game has, and Civ has the same problem for me. But the issue with games, which is present day Cameron, just isn't taking the time to get good at these games in the same way that like past Cameron was willing to. Like I played so much Civ like 2 and 3 because I could just like sit down, knock out a game. But like that's so much harder to do now, just in terms of my interests. Like games that don't have like stories just tend to not connect with me as much as they did when I was like younger playing games. And so, but Humankind was very fun. I think we're going to put it here above. No, I think it's here. I think it's number 4 for the moment. I think that's a really cool idea. I'm always up for competition within these like established genres where there's like a leader and then like there's this other game that comes out and is trying to do something like similar but different. Like Queen Skywalker, hello. Gold, please. I love that emote. There's a similar idea to like Coromon, where like Coromon is like if Pokemon fans designed a Pokemon game, what would it look like? Humankind is if Civilization fans designed a Civilization game, what would it look like? And so there's some really cool features, and I liked some of the twists on the formula. And so I would definitely recommend if you like Civilization style games, but like if you don't like that style game, this game is going to not change your mind. And so next up we have Lost Records Bloom and Rage. So this was a 2-part Telltale Life is Strange style games. And in fact, it's from some of the people, it's from Don't Nod. So it's some of the minds behind Life is Strange. And is this very interesting take on these girls, like the summer, I believe it's like their summer of like high school. And then something happens and then they go their separate ways and they have not talked for 20 something years. Then now they're coming back to town together. So there's a bit of the, like, you from a meta narrative know that something is going to happen. And then you're playing the modern version of the characters, as they're kind of connecting and reconnecting after this time apart. And then you're also going and playing the actual events as they like recount what happened. This game was episodic. It was released in 2 chunks. And let me tell you, that was a bad idea. I played the first chunk and then just never went back. As much as I did enjoy it, it was just like not enough to go back and replay it, and play more. I still want to, like, I really want to go and finish the story, but it just felt like the gap between the episodes was too big. And I just, by the time that it had fallen off, I had just never gotten around to wanting to go back and play more. I actually think this might still be on my PlayStation, or I just deleted it. I don't remember for sure, but like, this has been on my PlayStation for basically this whole year, kind of tempting me to go back. And I have just never actually gone back and done it. I'm going to put it here below 33 Immortals. And like, I want to go and finish the story. It seems like it's an easy platinum and I feel like I would enjoy it, but like, I just have not like been able to motivate myself to go back and play more of it. Next up, we have Citizen Sleeper. In terms of like general cultural vibe, like this and Ghost of Tsushima are probably like the most impactful games that we've played. So Citizen Sleeper is like, it's a role-playing in the ruins of an interplanetary capitalism. Live the life of an escaped worker washed up in a lawless station on the edge of interstellar society. Inspired by the flexibility and freedom of TTRPGs, explore the station, choose your friends, and escape your past and change your future. So Citizen Sleeper 2 came out, I believe, this year. And so like the premise here is that like every day you get up and you're rolling dice and you have modifiers, and then like you are going and using those dice to do actions and try to complete specific tasks. And as you do those, eventually you level up and you unlock new skills. And so it's a really interesting idea. I think my issue with Citizen Sleeper is that I came here to play a game, not to read. And I say that offense intended to me. But when it comes to games like this that have a whole lot of text, like this just being like a flat thing of text just did not work for me. And like, I just found myself not caring to go and read through the story. Again, that was a me problem, not a game problem, but we're here talking about my experience. So like, I feel like there's a good chance that like, had I connected with the story and put in the work there, Citizen Sleeper would probably be number 1, because it's like right up my alley as someone who loves TTRPGs. And this is, as the description said, basically TTRPG the game. But like, I just did not connect with it. And then I'm sure there's some like cool stuff in the setting, but like, because I didn't really connect with it, like from a story standpoint, it kind of just felt like generic sci-fi to me and stuff like that. And so again, I think this is a me problem, not a game problem. And so we're going to, what are we going to put this? I think we're going to put it here, as number 6. I think realistically, this should be like number 2. Like, I think if I had put in the work, it would be potentially above Ghost of Tsushima, if not number 2. But like, again, just because I didn't connect with it, like we're going to leave it here. Let's see. Next up, we have Wanderstop, which was nominated for Games with Impact at the Game Awards. So this is from the creators of the Stanley Parable and the Beginner's Guide. Comes Wanderstop, a narrative-centric cozy game about change and tea. We streamed this on the channel. There should be a playlist for it if past Cameron did his part and actually created that. So this is a very interesting, like, as the description says, narrative game. For this being from the people that created Stanley Parable, I expected this to be a lot more Stanley Parable than it was. But the premise is like you as this protagonist have had something bad to you. You're wandering this forest and then you come across this like magical, like meadow's the wrong word, but like this magical area where Wanderstop, this magical coffee shop, lives. It only made you want to play this when, and so like the game is about like uncovering what happened to your character, and then is also about like making coffee for people. There's a little bit of like the puzzle game aspect, because as you get farther and farther into the game, some of the like requests get weirder and weirder. And so it's a very interesting, like, again, narrative, like exploration style game. And I would definitely recommend it to people on that regard. I will say kind of my biggest thing with this is like, calling this a video game feels like some of a stretch in the terms of like, I feel like a lot of like what makes this good is like the visual novel side of it. Like the gameplay is fine. When you're going through and you're actually doing the game side of it, but the story is really interesting and is well told. Going back to the Citizen Sleeper that we just talked about, like this being like something that like we were doing silly voices and having fun doing this on stream. Like I do feel like that improved my experience with Wanderstop compared to, just like sitting there and reading like I was doing for Citizen Sleeper. So again, the way that I played the game changed that experience, but we're going to move this up here, I think, to number 3. Don't play this if like you're looking for like this prime action game type thing, because that's definitely not what this is, but it is a very cool narrative. And so definitely recommend it in that sense. Like kind of like the idea of like meet the game for what it is, not for what you want it to be. Next up, we have Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. Dash into stylish and thrilling action-adventure platformer set in the mystical Persian world where the boundaries of time and space are yours to manipulate. Play as Sargon and evolve from sword-wielding prodigy to extraordinary legend as you master acrobatic combat to unlock new time powers and unique abilities. So, this is a Prince of Persia roguelike. Oh, not roguelike. Metroidvania. There we go. Where you are going through and knocking out challenges as you improve. There's some really cool boss fights in this, like, definitely Metroid like inspired game. And so Lux says I bought this on sale a long time ago and had just never gotten around to it. I'm going to hit you with this. This is my number 1 so far for the year. This game was so good. I loved Sargon as a character. The gameplay for this one also took me a little bit to kind of like get behind. And there was a handful of bosses that like felt like challenging to the point of like feeling gimmicky, of like, I'm really not sure what I'm doing wrong here, but I just keep dying. But like that was few and far between. And so there's some very cool exploration. I believe this team at Ubisoft got shut down, which is awful, because this game is like amazing. It was released last year in 2024. Had I played this in 2024, like where would this have landed? This might have been my number 4 for the year last year, below Balatro. Looking at this, or maybe it would have been like behind Pal World. But like, it's a very cool game. If you like Metroidvanias, like I would definitely recommend. Not so Silent Bob would not stop harping on you about it. Yeah, definitely recommend. You made us more money than any other team. Gonna shut you down. Yeah, it was a small team making a smaller game, and like it makes me so upset that this just like didn't connect and wasn't something that like that really took off. Again, as I say, as part of the problem of like this released January of 2024, and I did not play it until 2025, and so. I wish that this is something that would have done well, because I would have loved to have seen what they would have done with the Lost Crown too, and like what that team would have done. Okay, now for something completely different. We have Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team. This was free on Nintendo, and says you are a regular human. Find yourself trapped in the body of a Pokemon in a world inhabited by Pokemon. Without any other choice, you go on rescue missions through randomly generated dungeons with your newly acquired partner and friend to save the world and get back to your human life. This game was released in November of 2025, which means that they did that at almost the same time as that Prince of Persia roguelike. We'll talk about that Prince of Persia roguelike later on. And so this game's fun. Like I had never played Mystery Dungeon, or like I think I might have like messed around with it once at a friend's house, but I had never really dug into it. It's a cool idea. It definitely feels like I believe this was originally released on Game Boy. Yeah, originally released on Game Boy Advance. And let me tell you, this feels like a Game Boy Advance game. I like wanted to like this more than I did, especially like considering like you answer like a personality questions that kind of determines what Pokemon you get and stuff like that. And so like it's very fun and a very cool idea. And yeah, it just kind of feels like my problem with a game that is like old game is old. And so it was kind of hard to go back and get into this in the same way as like I would have had I been like 9 or 10 when this came out. Like if that was the case, like as someone who liked Pokemon Legends Arceus because it was like a different take on Pokemon, I feel like had I played this either when it came out or when I was younger, if it had come out earlier, I would have loved this. The roguelike elements are really interesting, but I definitely just didn't connect with it as much on the premise of like I just didn't have the desire to dig into it more. So we'll set it there for now below Lost Records. Next up, we got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Splintered Fate, the game whose title I can never say correctly. And so again, here we're talking about my experience with the game as well as the game itself. So this is a game that I played over on Locke's stream a handful of times. I think like 3 or 4. I could be wrong. But you unleash the turtles in a rogue-like quest to rescue Splinter, or Father, from the Foot Clan. Master ninja skills, unite in bodacious co-op gameplay, and conquer iconic New York locales. There's a new DLC for it. Just, putting that out there. And so... this is a game, this kind of goes back to Redacted, of like, this is another like action-y rogue-like that's not Hades, but is clearly like Hades adjacent. But this one's gimmick is that you're the turtles and that it's co-op. I had a ton of fun with this. Again, part of that is streaming this with friends, us getting to make fun of some of the story. And then like, this does something that I really like in roguelikes, where there's a meaningful upgrade path as you try to get your character better and better. And I really like that. So it's like you would come back to the base after a run, and then you could level up your background stats, make it so you earn more, make it so you hit harder, like, this was a really cool twist. All of the main characters kind of have their starting abilities, and so those are cool, but you're not necessarily locked into those. As you do your run, you can kind of develop some different things. So, like, this was super cool. I had a lot of fun with this game. I think we're going to put this as number 4 behind Shogun Showdown. And yeah, this is the type of game, again, Locke, to your point, a type of game I don't know how much I would play with this, how much of this I would play by myself, but is definitely something that I would play a lot with people, just by virtue of like the co-opness fits so well with playing the turtles. And so then for our, what are we at? 7th. So this is our 18th game. We have Blueprints. So Blueprints is, the description says, welcome to Mount Holly, where every dawn unveils a new mystery. Navigate through shifting corridors and ever-changing chambers in this genre-defined strategy puzzle adventure. But will the unpredictable path you create lead you to the rumored Room 46? So this game is honestly, it's a deck builder. Like, it's a deck builder roguelike where you are like laying down blueprints, and as you explore the mansion, you're trying to unlock different paths, because if you can reach this mystical Room 46 of this 45 room manor, then you unlock some cool, or you get to this manor as your inheritance. Alexa has really enjoyed streaming it with you. I sincerely not touched it since we last. Yes, I'm in the exact same boat. I have not played TMNT since the last time we streamed it together. But Blueprints does the exact thing that I love in a puzzle game, which is your like core objective of beating the game isn't that hard or that complicated. You just have to learn and figure out what you want to do. I love seeing and hearing people talk about their like Blueprints journals that they made as like you're discovering stuff. And I think that was super cool part of this game. And then as you get to Room 46 for the first time, you basically finish Act 1 of the game. Then there's a whole lot of more mysteries to go and discover if you want that. And so like, if you just want like the core experience of get to Room 46, I think this is an amazing game. And if you want to then do more runs and dive into more of what's going on, like there's even more there for you. And I love that in this game. Spoilers for Expedition 33, but like this was an amazing time to be Cameron, getting Blueprints and Expedition 33 back to back, because it was like 2 games where like I felt seen in a row of like, I loved both of these. I think I'd gotten to Room 46, but I went to Oklahoma to visit some friends and they were playing Blueprints. And so like, I was, I think, ahead of where they were. And was kind of like trying to like give them hints that were not too hinty, and kind of be like, hey, have you tried blah, blah, blah? Like, have you discovered this thing? Have you investigated blah, blah, blah? Like that kind of stuff. And it was a super cool game where like knowledge is power. And so I definitely recommend it there. And then next up we have Claire Obscure Expedition 33. If people have Indie Game Awards questions or call outs, go ahead and post those in the chat. We'll talk about those kind of once I get through my description and thoughts on them. If you've been hanging out with me in any Discord, or talked to me in any way, shape, and form for this year, it will be zero shock to you that Expedition 33 is the like my number one for this, like for at least so far on the list. We'll see how it shakes out for the rest, but like, I love Expedition 33, and it did what I hoped people would do, which is like, whenever, whenever there is a game in a genre, in this case, turn-based RPGs, that people generally don't like, but you love, whenever there is one of those that like people connect with, it makes me so happy to see people discover this. So like, while I, again, by no means like dug into Baldur's Gate 3 in the same way that many other people did, like it was a similar thing with Baldur's Gate where like I've loved and played a lot of CRPGs, but like a lot of people haven't. And then like seeing Baldur's Gate get to introduce that genre to so many people is like the exact same thing that Expedition 33 did when it came to this turn-based RPGs, where like I think Persona 5 kind of falls into the a similar category as well, of like games that I've loved this genre for a long time, and then getting to see people experience it has made me so happy. And so as like a brief description, in case you haven't heard of Expedition 33, lead the members of Expedition 33 on their quest to destroy the paintress so that she can no longer paint death again. Or she can never paint death again. Explore a world of wonders inspired by Belle Epoque France, and battle unique enemies in this turn-based RPG with real-time mechanics. Other things I wanted to say about this from a gameplay or stories perspective. I love that every character in your party has like a different gimmick in terms of like how do they power up. So like Gustav, as he hits things, he builds up overcharge, and then like he has abilities that then can spend that overcharge to deal more damage. So like that's really cool. Mael has stances where like her abilities will like do more blank if she is in a certain stance, and then will put you into another stance. So it kind of has this combo-y mechanic where like, okay, I want to use this because that will get me this thing, and then if I use this next attack, that'll then put me in this stance, so then I can do this other thing, and I can use that as my way of getting ahead. And so I loved that for all the different characters. They all have those gimmicks. Some of them I think are much more interesting than others, like Minoko, the guy here in the bottom left. I think his mechanic is the weakest. He's the blue mage, so like he gains abilities from your enemies. And like that just was like and then like he has like a wheel where like each ability is tied to a specific space on the wheel. And like you can build out his moves, I assume, in ways where like you can specifically kind of go through this pattern. I never cared that as much, and so like I just didn't get as into that ability, and that just kind of bored me. But I liked him as a character. And then something I really liked about this game is that it does a great job balancing humor and heaviness. There are some amazing jokes in this game. And then there are like, if you've seen anyone play Claire Obscure Expedition 33, you know like there are so many emotional beats in this game as well. This game hits so hard, and has like, I would connect it a lot to like Final Fantasy X, where like there is this current of happiness in Final Fantasy X, and then there's the undercurrent of something is wrong. And that's how Expedition 33 goes. And so I 100% recommend. I know we at least streamed our first play of this. I don't remember if I streamed more of it. I know I didn't stream the whole thing because I couldn't wait to stream to play this game. So I was deep in playing that. Oh, and so controversy stuff of like Expedition 33 is now the most winning game at the Game Awards. Had the most nominations of any individual game, and then has the most wins of any game. In the individual game, and I believe is in a 3-way tie for franchise wins. So like this one game has tied like multiple major franchises in terms of its wins. And then some of that then came down to it being nominated for like indie game and debut indie, which I feel like every year sparks the like, what does it mean to be an indie game? Where like Blueprints looks like an indie game. And then like Expedition 33 doesn't. It looks like a AA game that is just made by a smaller studio. And so like there's always that like back and forth of like what even is indie. And so I feel like there's like that kind of stuff. And then because Expedition 33 sweeped, there was a lot of people that felt like their games didn't get the time to shine, which I think is sad. At the same time, I was the person in Discord chat cheering for Expedition 33 every time it got a win and wanted it to get those sweeps because of how much this game means to me. And so I do not think it's hyperbole to say that like Expedition 33 and Blueprints are like games of the generation and like deserve their spots in like any like top games list for PlayStation 5, Xbox series, all of that kind of stuff. Like whenever these generations get looked back on, I think both Blueprints and Expedition 33 deserve their spots as like cream of the crop games for this generation. I think both of those, and like I said, getting these back to back was like amazing for me. And then to what we were talking about in chat, Indie Game Awards happened recently. I have not gotten the chance to go and watch all of it. I started it, but haven't finished. But shout out to them. Definitely recommend people go watch that. If you want more of that, you should go and watch it. And so there was some controversy around Expedition 33 because, I had missed this, but apparently, over the summer when this game came out, it came out in April. And then what the information I saw was in June, there was some call outs to, Gen AI being used in the game for some of the placeholder texts and placeholder images that have then made its way into the game. And then Indie Game Awards, their policy is that no Gen AI can be used in the game. And so Expedition 33, I believe, won Game of the Year at that awards show as well, and then has now had its award like rescinded because they had used Gen AI. And while like I think we should not be using Gen AI, I think it is bad. I think that it is something that we should line in the sand and say that we don't like. I think it is a huge mistake on the Indie Game Awards to even have allowed this game to be nominated when like they were not, apparently, I didn't know again, but like they had been news stories about them having used Gen AI. And so now there's this kind of drama about them getting that award taken away. And so I think that that's something where if we are going to, the best way to say this is like, if I was running an awards show, like to some degree, you need to trust the developers to tell the truth. And apparently there might've been something where they checked the wrong box and said that Expedition 33 didn't have Gen AI because it doesn't have it anymore, but like it did have some that made it to initial release. But like if I was making a show and I was looking only at a specific category of games and I knew there was something that would disqualify a game in that category from making it, I would be making a list of like, again, if I was going to do third-person action game awards or action adventure awards, and like we're going to take a look at open world action games, and that's going to be our award show. And one of my rules is that no Gen AI could be used. Every game in that category that comes out that year, I'm going to be keeping an eye out. Is there Gen AI that has been used? And if so, I'm going to preemptively disqualify them. Like, I think that Expedition 33 even being able to be nominated was a mistake. And they should have not allowed that to be there if that was their rule going into it. And so, but yeah, so that's kind of like the most recent Expedition 33 drama. And so, and then, yeah, I hope that we see fewer and fewer games use Gen AI. I feel like, especially with the statements from Larian about them using more, I think we're not going to win that fight, but I think we should fight that fight as much as we can. And so I think Gen AI is a awful thing that should try to minimize using in any ways. But But yeah, I think this even being able to be nominated was a mistake if that was going to be your rule. So yeah, straight to jail, Panda Boy, with that awesome emote. And so okay, next up, again, another throwback, actually ironically to a 2020 or a 2004 game, the same as Pokemon. Fire Emblem The Sacred Stones. This was also free on the Switch game catalog. And so in Sacred Stones, you must protect the nation of Renias from the invading Grotto Empire. Plan your strategy, choose your units, then lead your soldiers into battle. With more experience soldiers gain, the more you can upgrade their abilities. This time, your soldiers can gain experience from fighting new monsters, the Towers of Volney. And so this is a Fire Emblem game. I love Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem is my favorite Nintendo franchise. This is one that like I had missed when it came out. I played like what we in America call Fire Emblem on Game Boy Advance, but I never played the Sacred Stones, and so I didn't finish this. But like this was one that I like had always meant to play and just never gotten around to, and so I had a lot of fun with this. It is a classic Fire Emblem, of like there's kind of been like a modern cutover within the franchise, and this is very much before that cutover. And so there are some things that I like about that. I like the idea that like, hey, your character is this character and like you can't just reclass everyone. But like I like that that you are locked in more. But some people are the other way. They like the freedom of being like, hey, if I want to change this unit to whatever, I should be able to. And so I did like that vibe. I like it being locked in more. I think there's like a middle ground there that I think would be ideal, but here we are. I'm not designing the games. So, but awesome. I love tactical games like this. I love like, give me my characters on a grid, give me some sort of triangle about what like rock, paper, scissors, and I am in. And so this one's very fun in that guise of like, this is a Fire Emblem game. This one will not change your opinion on the franchise. And so I would struggle to recommend this over, we're going to drop this here for now. This is not where it's going to end up. I would struggle to recommend Sacred Stones over the plethora of other Fire Emblem games and other tactics games. But it is something I would definitely recommend that like, if you are interested in learning more about this franchise, that you go and check out. Like I said, I haven't beat it. I feel like I'm probably like halfway through. But it is something I would definitely recommend you go and play. Like I said, if you are into the franchise, would not recommend it as a starting point, but it is one that I would recommend, especially if you're interested in going back and playing some like classic games. I think we're going to put this, I said this isn't where we're end up. I think we're going to end up here, just one above. No, I think we're going to put this above Sayonara. I think we're going to land with it here. Yeah. And maybe if I had finished the story, maybe that would bump this up a little bit more. But I think that had I, again, kind of like what I was saying for Red Team Rescue, Red Rescue Team, there we go. Like, I think if I would have played Sacred Stones as it came out, it would have impacted me a lot more, just because there was going to be less of this franchise available in the West. But because I'm playing it now and there is a lot more, I think it's just kind of hard to recommend it above the like Three Houses or like, well, I haven't played the 3DS ones, I know that like those are like regarded super highly. And so I would very much struggle to recommend this one above any of those modern games. Or if you want to do a classic one, like go play the GameCube one, now that it's available on Switch as well, if you have Switch 2. So next up, we got Sunderfolk. So this is, we talked about Citizen Sleeper being TTRPG the game. Sunderfolk is board game the game. So it's a couch co-op turn-based tactical RPG where 1 to 4 players adventure through the magical and dangerous Sunderlands. So I don't think it's gonna be visible. Can we get back? Oh yeah. So in this like back corner, we have the board game Frosthaven, and Gloomhaven, that it is the initial one for that. And this is those games as a couch co-op video game. And so you play these with your phone as your controller, and then you go and have your abilities. You talk through your tactics as a team and kind of figure out what you want to do, how you're going to set up and solve these puzzles and stuff like that. And so this is really cool. I had a lot of fun playing this game with friends, and it's definitely I've only played 2 sessions of it. And so I think we probably have only played 3 or 4 missions total, but I definitely really recommend this game if you are into board games and you are interested in a couch co-op game. And so I did have a lot of fun. It's a game I would love to play more. How high up are we going with this one? I think we're going here at number 6. I think I liked this less than Shogun just because I did not have as much experience with it. But I could see had I dug into and finished this. This is kind of like what we did in 2024, where Baldur's Gate 3 is number 5 because of the asterisk of if I would have finished this is probably number 1. But because I didn't, it's kind of getting rated lower. I think Cinderfolk falls in that same category, where if I had really dug in and seen all of the character development and all of the level ups, I think there's a good chance this would end up in 3 or 4. I think because we didn't do that, that's where this is going to land. And so, I think maybe not. Next up we have, it's so hard to even read this cover. Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, and which is an indie action adventure platformer, features 1 second per second of highly advanced funk style. In a world where self-styled crews are equipped with personal boost packs, new heights of graffiti are reached. Start your own cipher and dance, paint, and trick face off with own cipher and dance, paint, trick, face off with the cops, and stake your claim on the extrusions and cavities of a sprawling metroplex in an alternate future. And so that's a lot of words. And so this game, now I can't remember the name of it. There's a very prominent skating graffiti game that this game is very obviously based, inspired by. Let's see if I can find it quickly with a Google search. I just searched for graffiti video. Yes, Jet Set Radio, and that's what it is. And so this is very much inspired. Jet Grind, Jet Set. Yes. Thank you, Locke. Very much inspired by those games. Very similar ideas, at least in terms of how I remember those games from the limited times that I played them. Very similar gameplay to those as well, in terms of this kind of arcadey, skating meets punk, all of that kind of stuff. We'll talk about this with a later game as well. If you go and check the list, you can find out what those are, or you can guess what that's going to be. I think my problem with this is that I just did not enjoy the skating side of this. It just always felt like it was more complicated to get where I needed to go than it should be. And kind of with that, it is just a game that I look at the reviews and I'm kind of shocked that on Backlogged, this has 4 stars, 4.1 stars is its average rating. I would definitely not do that, but can fully accept that this game is probably not for me as the target audience based on that. I think I'm going to put this here above Mystery Dungeon. But it was a really cool idea, and I could see again, there's another game that I said this for. Oh, it might've been Undying, of I can see this connecting with very specific people, but I'm just not those people. And so Yeah. Our next game, we have Inscription, which is a inky black card-based odyssey that blends the deck-building roguelike, escape room-style puzzles, and psychological horror into a blood-laced smoothie. Darker still are the secrets inscribed upon the cards. And so, I'm going to try to not say... gotta be honest, you were floored I played this for Inscription. And so I think what Inscription does the best is that it is not what you think it is as a game. Locke says it's so hard to talk about this game without spoiling stuff. Did I play the Lamb game this year or last year? I believe Cult of the Lamb was last year. Yes. And so great question, Deanna. And so, so Inscription is, to Locke's point, extremely hard to talk about without spoiling things. I went in knowing that the game was not what I thought it was going to be, and it was still not what I thought it was going to be. Like the finale segment of this game is peak video games, in a way that like is super fun. So many cool references. And the core gameplay being this like deck builder roguelike, was also super fun. It's well thought out. It's deep without feeling complicated is like the best way I can describe it, where like there are like deck archetypes, but like you get new cards in a way that like is quick enough that it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm missing a blah, blah, blah card. And so I definitely would recommend it. And then as that description said, this is also like very escape roomy of like you're trying to do stuff. And so I would definitely recommend this for that puzzling people. With just because the description said horror and I'm a scaredy cat, I will say do not be afraid of the horror. I don't think it is that scary. I think this is going to be number 3 for me. I think this beats out Lost Crown. And so I definitely recommend this game. Did I pop by at all when you played Pony Island? I don't think so, Locke. That doesn't sound familiar. It's really incredible, and it will continue to surprise you at every step. Yes. I will also say, adding on to that surprise thing, once I thought I had figured out that what this game was, it was still not that thing. Like, and so definitely like that difference in the way that this game like reinvents itself is very cool. Next up we have, I'm sure our only Nintendo Switch 2 game, because I don't have a Nintendo Switch 2, and that's Mario Kart World. A friend of mine and one of the players in my Marvel Multiverse TTRPG campaign got a Switch 2, and invited me over, and we went and played through a bunch of the Grand Prix, and unlocked a bunch of stuff for this game. And so my experience with this game is relatively limited, just because this is all based on that one play. Whereas I feel like for a lot of people, they like Mario Kart games are games that you stick with and people play for decades. Like people were still playing so much, like Mario Kart 8 and Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. And so having played this basically one night and just going through the Grand Prix, I can't necessarily go too deep into my like understanding of the mechanics and stuff like that. But from my experience, I really had fun. I've always loved Mario Kart games from afar. Same thing as like a lot of fighting games where like, because I grew up mostly playing games by myself, a lot of the co-op games or like PvP, like local PvP games, I never really got into. And so, I never really got into playing Mario Kart game, like, and even like Smash Brothers to another extent, like until I went to college. And so you ask because Pony Island and Inscription are supposedly shared universe. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. And so, yeah, so all those caveats aside, I had a lot of fun with this for again, my, albeit very limited experience. I think there are some bigger complaints that people have had about the Mario Kart world, but from my short play, I don't necessarily have any opinions. I think we're going to land this here. And what is this? This is number 11. And so, next up, we have we put several hours into World without ever running a single actual GP. And again, I think that's part of the fun. As someone who loved Mario Kart 64 for the PvP, and I spent so much time like doing PvP for that, like, I literally just drove around the open world for like 10 hours. Yeah, like you find the modes that you like. So like I can't speak to that because like I only played like with a friend, with us racing each other. And so, and like, I mean, all the other NPCs, but like it was only that. And so, get a drink. Next up, we have another Crab's Treasure. This game released in 2024 as well, and is a Souls-like adventure set in a crumbling underwater world plagued by a mysterious curse. As Krill the Hermit Crab, you need to wear the trash around you as shells to withstand attacks from enemies many times your size. Embark on an epic treasure hunt to buy back your repossessed shell and discover the dark secrets behind the polluted ocean. And we played this game on stream, and this game ran into a problem, which is Souls-likes are very hard to play when you only stream once a week. And so I basically got very frustrated with this game because I felt like we were using the first would spend like the first 30-45 minutes of stream and just trying to remember what this game was. And what I was trying to do. And then it just felt like we were getting nowhere because we were losing so much time. This is why a lot of times when we do a stream game, I continue to play that game offline. Another's Crab didn't grab me enough to make me want to keep playing offline. But I wish it had. Because I feel like it was like a subpar streaming experience because of that. Crab is another one you installed and played just because you watched me play it. Nice. Yeah. So I enjoyed this game more than I enjoyed my experience playing it, if that makes sense. This is probably the game that will make it so we'll never stream a Souls-like again unless I can get back to daily streaming like we did when I was streaming Elden Ring. But because of that, or because I'm not doing daily streaming anymore, I don't see myself ever streaming another Souls-like on the channel, without any sort of shakeups like that. But again, I think this game is great, and it is definitely a game I would recommend. I think we'll put it here as number 10 for now. I just wish that my experience with it was much better. What are we at? We're at 25? 10, 15, 20, 25. Yeah. So next up we have Jassant. I very rarely, get into this style game, but I had a lot of fun. And so, the description is: enjoy meditative vibes in Jassant, an action puzzle climbing game. Scale an immeasurably tall tower and ascend to new heights alongside your watery companion. Master your climbing tools, find your way through diverse biomes, and piece together the tower's past. This is and this kind of describes it as an action puzzle game. This is much more puzzling than it is action, where it is, okay, I need to get there. What is the path to climb to get there? It's a little bit arcadey, a little bit stamina and trying to manage things as you go. And so it was a very interesting play. Another relatively short one. Backlog lists it as 5 hours. And so I had fun. I enjoyed this game. I don't think it's going to necessarily make a lasting impact on me as a person, but I think it lands here below Lost Records. But it was an interesting experience, and I enjoyed it enough to play all the way through, even though Like, I believe it's a game that has a relatively easy platinum. I did not enjoy it enough to go and try to get the platinum. Next up, we have Endless Dungeon. This is another in the Cameron, just go play Hades chain of like, this is an Endless Dungeon is a roguelike tactical action game set in the award-winning Endless universe. Recruit a team of shipwrecked heroes, plunge into a long-abandoned space station, and protect your crystal along never-ending waves of monsters, or die trying. Get reloaded and try again. I think it is, you do at least have a companion with you. I don't know if it's like actually co-op in terms of gameplay, and I'm not seeing that quickly on their page on Backlogged. Yeah, I'm not seeing that quickly. It does. I know you bring a companion with you when you go on your excursions, but I don't know if that can be. Epic does list it as co-op. Okay. Yeah, I would not have been surprised if it was. And so under the features thing. Okay, cool. So this game was a cool idea. I played probably 5 or 6 runs of this and then just kind of got my fill. I could definitely see, Locke, to your question of like, if we were streaming this game, I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more, the same way that I enjoyed Splintered Fate. But because I was playing this one by myself, I did not overly like fall in love with it. It has some cool mechanics where like the idea is like you can build turrets and use those to defend against the monsters when they spawn. And then as you explore, they can kind of like weaken them, and then you have your abilities, and then you can go in and fight off waves, also help fight off the waves as you try to go and navigate like your like crystal power source thing through the maze and get it to the exit. So like you're opening new doors, which have a chance of triggering the monsters to spawn. And so it's a really cool idea that, again, I feel like I probably would have connected with more had I played it differently. I think this is going to land. I think I'm going to put it below Lost Records. I think had I played this actually co-op, there's a chance that this lands like up here. Also, I'm not liking Mario Kart. We're going to move it down below Humankind. And so I think there's a chance that like Endless Dungeon like lands up here in this higher tier had I played it co-op. When it comes to games that look like that, let you know. You always have, I need to be better at like reaching out and being like, hey, do people want to game? Like it's something that like, because I play so many solo games, and like almost all of my like favorite games are solo, like single player games. It's like, I almost never am like, oh, look, this game's co-op. I'm going to reach out and see if anybody wants to play. It's just something that I need to get better at. Next up, we have what is probably my biggest disappointment of the year in Mecha Break. This is obviously inspired by Gundams and like Armored Core and stuff like that mecha game. It's a multiplayer mech game that allows players to choose from diverse mechs, customize appearance, and battle colossal war machines on treacherous terrains. Get ready for the ultimate showdown. Blitz, Brawl, Blaze. It was just fine. Like, I had wanted this to be much more Armored Core, whereas this was much more like microtransaction-y, unlock new stuff so that you can do better in PvP. And the fact that just like wasn't what I wanted. I think I played this twice and then uninstalled it. I really wanted to like this game because I really like the vibes of it. And like I had been watching and paying attention to this game for a couple years as we were getting ready for this to come out. And then it just was not really what I wanted it to be. And so I think I would put this, yeah, like, we just get a little bit of a bump up here. Like, it's above Undying, but not by much. At least from my experience with it. It's not, it makes you want a Dynasty Warriors, a co-op Dynasty Warriors Gundam. Yes, like, if that's what this was, I would have loved that. Of, like, arcadey mechs, so maybe, like, less Armored Core, more Dynasty Warriors, but, like, I played a lot of the Gundam games on, like, the PS2 era and had a lot of fun with them. Are they amazing games? Definitely not. But, like, I feel like if this was that and had, like, a modern story and was not pay to win, or, like, not, I don't know if it's actually pay to win, but was not, like, macrotransaction-y, I think I would have really enjoyed this game more. Maybe similar to, like, Zenless for me last year, where, like, I played that game completely free. And there was enough in that game that I really liked to make me get the platinum in it. Mecha Break just, like, did not connect with me, and because it was, like, the campaign felt thin, and then I was not interested in the PvP, I was just kind of done with it. So next up, as we get towards the bottom of our 40 games that we played this year, we have Katamari. We love Katamari Reroll plus Royal Reverie. This was my first Katamari game. I had never played one, and the premise is that, like, this was a remaster of a PS2 game, and so it was the second title in the Katamari Damacy series, returned in a remastered, powered-up version. This new reroll comes with improved graphics and gameplay enhancements. In Royal Reverie, you roll up Katamari as the king of all cosmos in his boyhood. And so I, again, knew about the Katamari franchise from, like, a high level, had never actually played one. And I don't think I will play one again. It was fun for what it was, for being a remake of a PS2 game. But, like, I don't necessarily feel like this game did anything that specifically enticed me to want to check out more after they went through and did this remaster of it. I think this is going to land here below Rescue Team, but, like, it isn't going to necessarily make me super excited to go and play more of it. So next up, we have Rogue Book. And so enter an ever-changing world full of legendary encounters and stories. Craft your cards, assemble the perfect deck, and defeat the Rogue Book itself, or die trying. Rogue Book is a single-player roguelike deck builder that takes place in a procedurally generated world. This game is very Slay the Spire adjacent. And I had a lot of fun with this game. Compare this to Astria. I feel like I've said that game's name differently every single time. I had a lot of fun with Rogue Book. I probably would have played more with it. Apparently the platinum's glitched. And the studio has basically just said they're never going to go back and fix it. But, like, I probably would have platinumed this game otherwise. This is saying it's like 11 hours to beat. I probably played 6 to 8 hours of this and had a good amount of fun with it. I would never recommend this over Slay the Spire, but, like, I think it is a fun twist on that style game. If you really like more procedural, like, roguelike deck builders. Again, would never recommend this above Slay the Spire, but, like, if you want more of that vibe and you don't mind, like, if you're not a trophy hunter and you don't care about the platinum, I would definitely recommend trying this out. I think this is going to go here below Citizen Sleeper, but above 33 Immortals. Actually, nope, that's not it. It's going to go here below Humankind, above Mario Kart World. Yeah. Also, Mario Kart World's going to just keep catching strays and keep getting moved down as I, like, reassess the list every time we look at stuff. And so, like, I think it's like Mario Kart World has now been bumped down like 6 positions or something like that. Okay. Next up, we have Cyberpunk 2077, a game that I had never played because of the state that it was released in 2020. And then it was now added as a free-to-play, or not free-to-play, it's now added if you had PlayStation Plus Extra. It was added to the game catalog. And so I was very excited to go and jump into this. I played, I think, like 30, 40 hours of this game. Made some pretty good progress. Deanna had asked me, like, what I thought about this game. And I was like, I think it's fine. Like, some of the stories are, like, really, really cool. And then other parts of, like, the quests are just like, this is the most generic. I wish you would let me just check the box and be done with this game. Gameplay was fun. I played this as like the cybernetic, which I had the realization during First Geek 411 that like I was playing this game as a mage. That like if you play like the hacking cybernetic character, you are just a mage, like, and your spells are that you're hacking. So I played it as that with a mix of shooting. And again, overall really enjoyed the experience. I love cyberpunk as a genre. And I think that carries a lot of the story for this for me of like, I like the like corporate espionage. But like, whereas like if we compare this to, Ghost of Tsushima, for Ghost, I loved the combat, didn't like the story. For Cyberpunk, the combat was fine and the story had its highs and lows. I like Night City as a setting. I like that it is a big city that we can explore, but I do wish that like it's a game I want to like more. Maybe that's the way to say it. Bought this game on release on PS4 and then again earlier this year on PC and still haven't broken 20 hours between both platforms. I want to like it. Yeah, I think it's going to land here at number 6. It's landing below Ghost of Tsushima. Again, I liked this game, and I think it is very cool. But I feel like that this was similar to Humankind, where like I feel like the me that loves the open world RPG is like no longer is not 2025 Cameron. Like open world games I feel like are becoming harder and harder for me to connect with. I feel like I would much rather have like a game with a very tight story that has open world elements like Expedition 33 does this, like versus a game that is just like there's a million things to do on the map. Like, I don't know. I feel like so much of that just becomes redundant, and like Cyberpunk felt like I was just doing stuff to check the box. Whereas like even in Ghost of Tsushima's open world, all the extra stuff that you can do does something. Like you go and you visit the shrines and that gets you this currency. And then you go and you rescue these people. That gives you this currency. And then once you get enough of that, then that unlocks an extra HP and stuff like that. Like stuff like the actions I was taking felt more meaningful. But I did, like I said, I love the Cyberpunk story as a whole. I still have this installed and I'll probably play more. And I might even try to finish the actual story. And so maybe that'll change my opinion. I do go back and update these lists as things change. But yeah, I just like don't see myself like there's so much to this game that like I feel like if a third of the game is a 10 out of 10, but the rest of it is a 6 out of 10, like it's hard for it to be an amazing experience, right? That's kind of maybe how I'm boiling down what I'm trying to say. Took you several starts and around 20 hours before you're able to get into Cyberpunk. Eventually ended up finishing the game just to finish it. Yeah. Like I get that. And that's kind of where I'm at too, where like I've done so much of the side stuff that like I think I'm at the point where I'm going to beeline the story if I go back to this game. We'll see if that happens. But like, if I do go back, I think we are going to sprint to the finish line and get through this. I might platinum this game because like the platinum isn't complicated and is definitely very doable, which I appreciate in an open world game. But I don't necessarily see that happening. Oh, and that was sneaky. And then Locke says, I just restarted it again like last week. I got you there. Like, and then, yeah, so that's Cyberpunk. Next up, Sword of the Sea. Again, hard pivot to something completely different. I'll pitch this game as, hey, did you like Journey? What if it was Journey, but you were skateboarding on a magical sword? That's Sword of the Sea. Did I stream this? I might have streamed my first play. I know I did not stream the majority of my play of it. But I might have streamed like one of it. So Sword of the Sea is an action-adventure game developed by Giant Squid, the studio behind Abzu and The Pathless. Set in a vast desert landscape, players control a character known as the Wraith. Exploring ruins and uncovering a lost world. Movement is centered on the hover sword, a tool that combines surfing, skateboarding, and snowboarding mechanics. The game emphasizes fluid traversal, atmospheric exploration, and light puzzle solving. Let me check YouTube real quick. Did I stream this? I feel like I might have, but like I could also be completely wrong there. This might have, oh no, okay. It looks like I didn't stream this. I was probably playing this when I was getting ready for my Lorcana events. And so like there was kind of some back-to-back Lorcana videos, and that probably is when this came out, or when I was playing this. So I definitely do recommend it, and I think it is a very fun game. It's another quicker one. And so let me see. What does this say? Backlogged has it as only 3 hours to get through, 8 hours to platinum. And so I definitely recommend it. It was free on PlayStation Plus Extra. And so I do definitely recommend it in that regard. And it's a cool, like, short experience, again, from the Pathless and Abzu developers, but, like, I would equate this very Journey-esque. I think it's going to come... No, I think it's going to go here below Wanderstop. Where, like, this is very, like, you discovering the story as you go through and as you do these things. Whereas, like, I don't know if there's an actual, like, dialogue ever spoken in this game, but it's very interesting and I do recommend it. Next up, we have Rogue Prince of Persia. So we talked about this a little bit when it came to Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. This game was announced at a similar time, where this is a 2D action platformer developed by Evil Empire in collaboration with Ubisoft. The game combines fast-paced parkour movement with a rogue-like combat and progression system. Players control the prince as he battles enemies and explores procedurally generated levels filled with traps and hazards. Each run offers new weapons, upgrades, and choices that influence gameplay and replayability. So this is very now I can't remember. It's a Dead Cells. There we go. I had Cells, but I did not have it. This is a very Dead Cells-esque roguelike, where you're going through and doing stuff. I did enjoy, from a story perspective, like, the game will kind of indicate that, like, hey, you have completed this area for now, but for what you need to discover in this, like, timey-wimey story is now over in this location. So maybe on your next run, you choose the path that gets you towards that location. So then you can try to find the thing that you need for that next story beat. I think I played like 4 or 5 hours of this game. And then I was having a lot of fun. And then my system save got corrupted and I lost everything. And so I just lost all of my progress in this game. And while I was having fun with it and really enjoying it, I was not really enjoying it enough to go and replay it after losing that much time with it. Had my save not gotten eaten, I probably would have finished this game and at least completed the story of it. But with that happening, I had just no interest in going and returning to it. Like, losing a save is so brutal. And so like that definitely, again, we're talking about my experience with the game, and like that definitely harmed my experience. I think we'll put it here. Like, again, had it not eaten my save, I could see this being like this row higher up, like potentially like either below like Splintered Fate or below Sword of the Sea. Locke says, I've absolutely just completely given up on a game after losing a save. 100%. Like, it is just so dejecting to lose like hours of experience. And even there, like, it was like 4 hours. Like, that's not a little, but that's also not like, it's not like I lost my Cyberpunk save of like 30 hours in, but like it was enough that I was just like, I just don't care to continue this. Next up, we got another amazing indie game in Hades 2 from Supergiant Games. Battle through the underworld using dark sorcery to take on the Titan of Time in this bewitching sequel to the award-winning roguelike dungeon crawler. So I notoriously have never played Hades. It's a game I know I would like, but when it came out on Switch and PC, and I wanted to get it when it came to PlayStation, and then just never got there. I have no reason to have not done this. It's literally, Hades 1 is literally on sale right now for like $7.50 on PlayStation. Will I pick it up? Probably not. It's a game I know I will love, but just for some reason have just never gotten around to like taking the time to play. So when Hades 2 was announced that it was going to be PC and Switch 2, again, I said, you know what, we're buying this on PC and we're playing it. Like, I was at a point in the year where like I wanted to dive into it, and I'm so happy I did. Like, I loved this game so much. Again, as the theme of like, we've had multiple games this year, like Redacted, Endless Dungeon, that are just like, hey, just go play Hades, or even like Astria and Roguebook, that are just, hey, go play Slay the Spire. Like, I'm so happy that I just like actually went and played Hades 2. Instead of playing games that are like in the same genre but are not as good. I also love Supergiant. Transistor is my favorite game of theirs. I never finished Pyre, but I enjoyed that as well. And then like obviously like Bastion is like a classic of indie game. And so actually playing Hades 2 was super fun. I loved Melanoy. There we go. I loved her. I loved Hecate being a big prominent part of this, and then getting to explore the underworld. Something that's kind of interesting about this game for me is that like, because the story develops as you play, and each night you return to your base and you can talk with the different characters, it kind of punishes you for being good at the game. Because it's like, you'll get to the point where like characters are commenting on things that happened like 5 runs ago, just because like they're finally like catching up. As like, oh, we needed to say blah, blah, blah because you beat this boss for the first time. But like, oh, now that like there's nothing that we have to say from this run, we can actually like comment on this thing that happened 5 runs ago. And so that's really funny. I liked the different weapons here as well. Like, you have your magical staff, then like you see it here. There's like this knife, you have a sickle. There's also like a freaking mech suit, like magic mech suit, which was super fun. Could have sworn you owned Transistor, but guess not. I cannot recommend you play Transistor enough. Like, I love that game so much. Super fun, super weird, very strange combat system. But very fun game. Again, I cannot recommend enough. But yeah, Hades 2 was a ton of fun. I am in the like post game side of things where there's like the increase the difficulty of the run challenges. And I'm on, I think, the last set, and I can just not get through it. And then now it's been so long that like I think I'm giving up. And I'm gonna just go and like watch what happens online, because I felt like I was playing like multiple hours and making zero progress because I would lose runs late to bosses. And so I don't think I'm going to be returning to Hades 2 at this point, but like I might be returning to Hades 2 when it comes out on PlayStation 5. That's how much I enjoyed this game. Like whereas like Rogue Prince of Persia eating my save like discouraged me from playing it again, I might start from scratch and replay Hades 2 once it hits PlayStation. So just to go in and get the trophies, and that might be my motivation to get good enough to knock it out. Shout out to the indies this year as like we sit here. Is Hades 2 above Rogue Prince? Expedition 33 is number one amongst these three, but like, is Hades 2 above Blueprints? I think I would recommend Hades 2 to more people. Whereas like Blueprints, I think I would recommend to very specific people, and they would love it. I think Hades 2 is something that I would recommend to more people as like, hey, it's this cool twist on Greek mythology, and but I think I would recommend it to more people. Next up, we have Viewfinder. This is a game that we streamed over here on the channel. And so Viewfinder is a puzzle game where you can reshape the world around you by taking photos with an instant camera. You two loved Viewfinder except the ending. Yeah. I had a lot of fun streaming this. This was a cool game. I like kind of weird puzzly games, and this kind of fits right into that category of like, I am not a programmer. I am not in IT. I do not understand how computers work, but I feel like I can look at a video game and be like, oh, that works because the way that the game is set up, there's gravity, and then the character has like a jump height that they're allowed to do. And then like, here's how the frames work of like, I don't know specifics, of course, but like, I feel like I've played enough games that I can look at some stuff and understand how it works. The fact that like Viewfinder as a puzzle game works around this idea of like, you take these photos, and then you can just like completely put them anywhere else in the world and it just works. Like, I don't understand how that functions, like how it is able to do that and process that. I have not played Subliminal, or Superliminal. Yeah, I guess it's super. Yeah, because sub would be spelled differently. There we go. Yeah, I have not played Superliminal. But yeah, so like Viewfinder was very cool, very fun stream game as well, as we again kind of talk through another shorter game. We beat it over 2 different streams that were super far apart because of stuff going on weekends, and I couldn't stream for like 2 months, a month and a half, something like that. And so, but it's a 4-hour game, so like it's a great, like if you could one sitting this game, I would 100% recommend it. And so I had a lot of fun. So chat says, Sneaky says, really enjoyed Viewfinder, but not enough to go back and platinum it. I'm in a similar boat of like, I don't remember if this is still on my system or if I recently deleted it, but like, I enjoyed this, and when I was streaming it, I was like, oh, I might go back and get the platinum. I'm not going back to get the platinum. Super, Subliminal is a game, but is a very different game. If you enjoyed it, Superliminal might tickle. Yeah, I'm definitely interested in checking that out. And so, Viewfinder, again, story is there and is fine. I wish I had liked the story more. I think we're going to drop this here below Sword of the Sea. And then let's go back down here onto our final row. Next up, a game that I believe was free on Epic Store, which is Nightingale. So this is a shared world survival crafting game set in a gas lamp Victorian fantasy setting. Players venture through portals to adventure and mystery awaits across a myriad of beautiful and increasingly dangerous worlds. Let's see. So back on Viewfinder. I loved Kat more than anything else in the game. Yes, Kate is amazing. I misread it. It was a Epic freebie. Yeah, you also snagged it but haven't touched it yet. For Nightingale, kind of going back to our conversation earlier about Endless Dungeon, of like, I feel like my issue with survival games is that because I don't necessarily like have this like established like, hey, I'll reach out to Locke and we can go jump in and play this game, because like I don't do that, like, and I need to be better about that. Like, survival games don't really click with me because the majority of them I am just not interested in the gameplay loop. Palworld was the exception for me. Granted, like, we played a good amount of that co-op, you, me, and just Gary. But like, I think Palworld was the exception because I loved the idea and I felt like I could do so much with going and like getting more pals and then like putting them to work on the base and like automating some of the stuff, like the grindy stuff that I don't enjoy about survival games. Nightingale is like the reason that like I don't like survival games. Of like, it's fun, it is interesting, and I have no desire to make more progress in it than I did. And like, to the point that like, again, I think I would have enjoyed this game more if I had played it with people, but I don't think I would ever recommend I played this game with people. Like, just because like if I was going to go and do that, I think I would probably find a different survival game to go and play with them. Kind of miss Palworld, but struggle wanting to go back to it. I'm in the same boat and I'm waiting for 1.0. I'm hoping once Palworld 1.0 comes out, I'm hopefully going to pick it up on PlayStation, and I really want to get back into it because I really enjoyed that game. Invite you to your next Raft reboot. But yeah, like that's the kind of exactly that type of thing where like, again, I've never played Raft. I've never played Valheim, I think is the Norse one, right? I never have played those, but I feel like if I was going to reach out to people about playing a survival game, I would just pick one of those that like I know is a good and well-received game. And I feel like Nightingale is going to kind of get lost because like, to me as an outsider, it felt like a generic survival game that I just had no desire to dive more into. And so like, this is a game that like I could see some people loving. I am not those some people. I think it's going to land here below Red Rescue Team. So the final four, we have The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered. So for this, because this is all I've done in The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, is we're going to be talking about No Return in specific, which is the roguelike mode that was added to this game. And so, and the reason we're going to do that is because I love The Last of Us Part 2. I have said multiple times, it is my favorite like video game and my favorite story. Oh no, hope your computer reboots quickly, Locke, and that everything is okay. If we reviewed this as a package of The Last of Us Part 2, this would be number 1. But all I've had time to do with this remaster is play some No Return. I streamed some of it here, and then I have played it once or twice after that, just to play more of that No Return mode. I want to go and do a chronological playthrough, since that's a new mode that was added in the remaster. But for the sake of this, like I said, just talking No Return. And No Return, it's so funny that this and God of War got roguelike modes like added to the game. Like God of War Valhalla was free to play. Like it was like a free DLC. And this one is like bundled in with the remaster. But I had a lot of fun with it. It's very different. very interesting take on the mechanics. I liked the idea of the different characters, and that as you play, you have like your two different squads, or in teams of like Team Ellie and Team Abby. Then as you accomplish things with those characters, you kind of have a chain of like unlocking Ellie unlocks Dina, unlocking Dina unlocks Jesse, unlocking Jesse again, I might have those wrong in order, but like I really liked that as a mechanic. And then you're unlocking more modifiers and more different things and more weird stuff. Some of them feel super OP. Like there's one that's like invisible enemies. And then but some of them are like so different. Like we had one on stream that was like, when an enemy dies, it drops a grenade. And like what we would do is we would kill an enemy, have them drop a grenade, then go and hide. And by the time that grenade went off and some enemies would like come and investigate, we would then take out those enemies, and we were kind of like using that as our way around. Or like I had another one, this might have been on stream, but it was another like when the enemy dies, they explode, and like enemies were like climbing up this thing together, and they all stepped up, and then I killed one, and then they dropped the grenade, and the grenade took out everyone else. And it was like, oh, like this is really cool. This thing that's like supposed to be a detriment, you can use it as like a power up basically. And so, yeah, I really liked No Return. Again, kind of like as someone who loves the Last of Us story, like the gameplay of that game is so good and does such a great job tying in. And so having No Return as a mode by itself, I think is really cool. Man, I'm like even torn of like, I want to even like put it up here. I think I'm going to put it, do I like Ghost of Tsushima more than I like just No Return? I think so. But I don't think I liked Cyberpunk more than I liked just No Return. So, okay. Okay. Next up, we have Skate Story. This just came out, was free on PlayStation Plus. And I booted this up and played a little bit of it. The description says, ollie, kickflip, and grind your way through the ash and smoke of the underworld as you take on a seemingly impossible quest. Skate fast to destroy demons and save other tortured souls on your journey from a fragile beginner to a hardened skater. And this game, as someone who like has played a good amount of Tony Hawk, but like has not kept up with that franchise, it made me really miss those, like the days of Tony Hawk, of like being super into that style game. This is the game that I referenced with Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, where like it's a skating game, and like I honestly just could not get into the vibes of it. The idea is that like you're a demon in hell, and then you're like skateboarding on your quest to like eat the moon. And then like as you play, you're unlocking new abilities, and then you use those abilities to like land a trick in this space, and that will do this thing. I played it twice, and just could not really keep with it. I think I'll put it here above Endless Dungeon. Welcome back, Locke. You got the Percy Jackson 2 ad. Episode 1 of season 2 was pretty good. Episode 2. The first 2 episodes are out. We've been watching that. I've been enjoying it as someone who like doesn't know, like prior to the Disney Plus show, I had seen the second Percy Jackson movie. And then I think Deanna and I did the audiobook for book 1 together on like a road trip. But like, so I don't know a ton about this franchise, but I've been really enjoying season 2. But yeah, so that's Skate Story. Hard to recommend. This is also the type of game where like I could see Skate Story unironically being someone's game of the year, in a way that like I would be really happy for them, and I would really want to be like, oh, this is probably a cool person that I need to spend time with. But I am not that cool person in this story, and so it was just fine for me. Our second to last game is Godzilla Voxel Wars. This is, if you've ever played Through the Breach, this is kind of that. This was a free game on Epic. Get ready to battle using your brain. A full-fledged turn-based strategy game with a difficulty level Godzilla. Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, and more are here to rampage across an 8x8 grid, control Toho monsters, and save the world from the fungoid mushroom invasion. And so, like I said, so this is not a roguelike. This is a puzzle game, in the sense that like Through the Breach is a roguelike. But like it's that same style gameplay where like you are shown what the enemy monsters are going to do, and then like you're trying to like prevent them from destroying the city. And so I have completed, I think, the first 2 out of 6 worlds for this game, and I've really enjoyed it. It's a fun puzzle game. There's been like 2 or 3 levels that like have been super confusing in that sense of like, I don't know how I was supposed to know that my character could do this ability, but like, it's cool that now I know that they can do this ability. And as you unlock more and more of the different monsters, and so they all feel kind of unique. It kind of feels like chessy in the sense of like, Godzilla is obviously the main character, but like that does not mean that on every map Godzilla is the most powerful character. Chunk, how's it going? You're going to download Skate Stories soon because it's on PS Plus now. Nice. I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, it's a game that like didn't connect with me, but I think will connect with other people in a really cool way. But Chunk, hit us up. What is your favorite game of 2025 that you played in 2025? And so, for being free, like I like really enjoyed Godzilla Voxel Wars. I don't know what like the MSRP is on it, but like I really enjoyed it, and I'm very happy I picked it up. It's definitely, I think it's above Rogue Prince of Persia. I think it's here. I think it's below Citizen Sleeper. Below Citizen Sleeper, but above Rogue Prince of Persia. I think that makes sense to me. And then our final and 40th game of the year is Alan Wake 2. So full disclosure, I had hoped that I was going to have this done by the time that we did this. I do not. And so we did stream last week my first play of Alan Wake 2. So you can go check out that video of like Scaredy Cat finally tries Alan Wake 2. I have played this a handful of times off stream in this, that was a bold hope. What do you mean? That I hoped to have this done. Yes. Entirely correct. I might have not known how long Alan Wake 2 was as a game. And so that's on me. My hope was based on not knowing how long it took to beat this game. Backlog lists that as 26 hours. And so this kind of happens a lot where like I'll do these, I think this has happened every year. There's a game that is like, this is the game I'm playing as the year ends, but we're not going to hold up the list until I beat this game. And so Alan Wake 2 is that for this year. I have currently finished Alan Wake's story in the game. I have not finished Saga's story. So I am give or take halfway through the game. A little over half. Like maybe I'm like roughly 2/3. I don't know. I presume there's going to be something after you finish both of their stories. And so again, roughly 2/3-ish through the game. I have dropped the difficulty down to story. I was playing on normal on stream. I have really found the story of this game very intriguing and very interesting in that same way that like I do with Control. Of like Control's story is super interesting. It's super weird, but it all also like makes sense. Alan Wake kind of has that same thing. And then I think my issue with this is like, I do not like the survival horror gameplay loop. and that's why I ended up dropping the difficulty down to easy. Of like, I really don't like this like scrappy, every shot counts, like style gameplay of survival horror. I like Control, where you're this like supernatural force like battling through things. And so this game will never like rank as high for me as Control does, where like Control is a game that like I still think about. And I told this to Emma pre-show for First Geek before our last Daggerheart session, of like recommending that she go and play Control. And we've been having some chats with a bunch of people over in that over in the First Geek Discord, of like, I think she will love Jessie as a character. And then like Emma likes horror a lot more than I do, because I'm a scaredy cat and she's not. And so like I can see her connecting with Alan Wake as a genre much more than I do. Locke says, so difficulty is not the issue. It's just the specific framing of said difficulty. Exactly. Yeah. Like, and like the like, I want to go explore, but because resources are so tight, like I feel like I get punished for going to explore, because then I get attacked by some random enemies and now I'm down 5 bullets that like, I only have 6 bullets left of my gun because I went and explored. Whereas like in a game like Control, like I feel like I can go and explore and take in this world without worry of like, what is this going to do for me for the future? And so, and Chunk says Lost Records is definitely up there for you. I think Dispatch is your favorite game of the year in terms of story. Borderlands 4 is your most played this year. Really enjoyed it a lot, but definitely not your GOATY. Yeah. I wanted to play Borderlands 4 and didn't get there. Dispatch is on my to play list as well. I think there's a good chance that had I played Dispatch, it would definitely be a top 5 for me. It's at least a contender. But like I said, Jessie is such a cool character. Bummed we're not getting her back in Resonant. But I'm still geeked out for what Dylan can do. I know we're talking Alan Wake 2. We're not talking Control Resonant right now. I would be shocked if we don't get Jessie back in Resonant. Like, even if it's like one mission or something, I think we will play as Jessie in Resonant. Again, for some amount of time. I don't know why I think that, but I just have the feeling that Resonant is not going to be a Dylan game. I think there's a good chance it's going to be about them as siblings, and then there's a good chance we'll get to play as Jessie. And so, I'm like, I would not be surprised if like if the next trailer that we get for Control Resonant reveals Jessie as a playable character. Again, I know nothing, but I would not be shocked if that was the case. She'll be in it, no question, and just see if they use Alan Wake 2 model. Yes, and that's kind of exactly what like a part of this, of like Alan Wake 2, where you play as Saga and Alan Wake. Like, I would not be surprised if we get that style story where you have both of them. And maybe you're not switching between them. Maybe it's parallel stories and you're jumping between them. But like, I would be shocked if we don't play as Jessie at all in Resonant. Yeah. So Alan Wake 2, again, got to finish Saga's story and then finish like wrap everything up. And then this is a game, this happened to me with something else as well another year, where like the game was just kind of okay for me, and then I dropped the difficulty, and then like, oh, I'm liking this game way more because it was the difficulty, to Locke's point, that like the way that the difficulty worked in this game that I didn't like. After dropping the difficulty down to easy, where I feel like I'm not getting too shot by some enemies sometimes, like I have really come to love this game a lot more. Again, just because I don't like that survival horror style gameplay. And again, like asterisk for like however this game is going to end. I think this is like number 5 for me right now, which kind of no. Again, we'll see how it shakes out. I think this is number 4 for me. I think it falls below our like indie powerhouses of this year, but like I think it lands above these of like I love the mystery. I love the weirdness of this game. And like, now that have dropped the difficulty, I am definitely liking the gameplay a lot more. I think the gunplay is cool and is really interesting. Of the idea of like you use the flashlight to weaken them and kind of make them human, and then you can take them out. I think that's a very interesting mechanic. But when I was playing on normal, like I just hated the like, well, I'm out of batteries for my flashlight. I guess I'm just screwed. Like now that I've like dropped that down, I feel like I can pick my battles much easier. And I'm liking that a lot more. And so, yeah, so I think like, again, like I'm shocked by this, not because Alan Wake 2 isn't a great game, but just because it's not my style game. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked, but I'm putting Alan Wake as number 4 for now. So let's save our list. We have gone through everything. And then that's going to take some time to refresh. Let's go ahead and give the page a refresh. Yes, we are good here. Okay. So we are going to now go and do our tier list. And then as we do our tier list, we're going to do our final pass through. And so as with all of our tier lists, and we'll talk about this when we talk about next week as well, the tier list is ranking this list of things. And so something like Alan Wake 2 may not be in the same tier if I had played it in 2024 as it is for this year. And so we'll kind of see how that shakes out. And so, okay, so I think our S tier is Expedition 33 through Blueprints. I think those 3, I just misspelled Prince badly. I think those 3 are our S tier for this year. And then our A tier is Alan Wake 2 through, I'm going to do dashes. I don't know why I'm typing out. Is Alan Wake 2 through, probably through Tilu 2. No return specifically. Sorry, for Alan Wake, or for Control, I think Chunk says, I think we'll at least get DLC where we play as Jesse. Yeah, I think that would make, if we don't get Jesse as a playable character as part of the campaign, I think we'll at least get a DLC focused on her, especially because we got her in DLC for Alan Wake. So they clearly don't want us to forget about Jesse. And so I think we will be seeing her playable, if not in the main game, in DLC. Okay, so our B tier is Cyberpunk 2077 through Viewfinder, I think, is going to be where B tier ends. Finder. And then Another Crab's Treasure will be our C's. And again, if I go back and play Another Crab's offline, that might bump it up. I think our C's are going to go through Godzilla Voxel Wars. Godzilla Voxel Wars. D's are going to be Rogue Prince of Persia through it feels crazy that we're on D's and we're like halfway through. Where is the cutoff here? I'm going to move some stuff around. This is why we do these. I'm going to move Katamari down. That's going to go down. Okay, Rogue. I think Rogue through. So like, yeah, it's like it feels weird putting these in Fs, but like I feel like it's the like I like I think I like no, I think this is gonna come down. I think this is gonna go here. I think Skate Story is gonna move to the other. I put Skate Story way too high. Like let's be honest there. Skate Story is like here. So this is like Rogue through Heroes Hour, I think. Let's see. Missing the space between B. Oh, good call. Good call. Sneaky, I'm going to give your character in Daggerheart disadvantage for that. You need to control Z so bad. I made my stance on puns well known. Okay, so we did all of that, and then I immediately forgot where we were. Oh, Heroes Hour. Heroes Hour. And then our F tier is Skate Story through Redacted. Skate Story. It has the Redacted. Okay. So let's do a final pass. Make sure we believe in this. So our A's are these three, or our S's are these three. Our A's are here. Is that? I don't know. I'm torn here. Like I feel like Cyberpunk and Shogun are either like high B's or low A's. I'll come back to this. I might end up changing where this cutoff is. Since Cyberpunk through Viewfinder, another Crab through Godzilla, yeah, Rogue through Heroes, yeah. I think moving Skate. I put Skate Story way too high, and so I feel a bit better with this list. Yeah. Okay, we're gonna save. That is the 40 games that we played this year ranked, and so good stuff. Again, my goal is always 50-ish games, just to set a goal. Ooh, you bought Wonderstop when it was on sale a couple weeks ago. Let me know what you think. I'm super curious what you'll think of the story of that game. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I feel like we made some good progress. I was feeling kind of down on games this year. Some of that is like, I feel like this is a very large F tier. Like Concord through Skull and Bones last year is 6 games that I put in F tier, whereas this year it was 8 games. So like that's another like extra 2 games. So I feel like there was just a lot of stuff that I just like wasn't clicking with. And even like kicking off the year with Astria and Heroes Hour, which were like fun, but like I didn't super connect with. And then like Redacted as well. Like I just felt like I wasn't clicking with a bunch of stuff this year, whereas last year I feel like I hit the ground running much more. But that being said, like some crazy stuff this year. Oh, you almost bought it. I got you. Reading was hard. That's on me. But like, yeah, so like having those, but then having the like insane highs of Expedition, Hades, and Blueprints. And like, I do all this as someone who is like not a Hollow Knight fan, but like if Hollow Knight Silksong was here, like, and that was the game that I had connected with more, like that was probably going to be a top, like one of these top games as well. Like, it's definitely crazy to me that like our top 4 slots would have been indie games. And then even here, like Alan Wake was, what year is Alan Wake? Is it a 2023 game? Like, it's just crazy to me that like this is where we landed with these 3 indies as our top 3 games of the year. So shout out to them. And then let's go back all the way up here. Let's go to our lists, games I'm keeping an eye on. I'm going to click here. Do I have get this description, and let's just actually highlight all of this. Okay, go back. Let's create a list. This is going to go in games I'm keeping an eye on. And then we are going to make, this is 2026 games I am keeping an eye on. So as the description says, these are games that ideally are releasing this year. Do I update these lists? Yes, asterisk. So I don't remove things from lists. So Locke asks, because I still have Expedition 33 on the 2025 one. Yeah. So there are games that I'm looking forward to that year. So if new games get announced that I'm interested in, they get added to the list. But games do not get removed from them after they are released. It's kind of like it's an ever-growing list of games that are announced, but stuff never falls off. And so another example of that is like if a game gets delayed, I don't remove it from the 2025 list. So like GTA 6 is not going to be on my list because like I'm not looking forward to GTA in specific. But like if I was, like GTA 6 like would be on my list because like it was announced in 2025 and then has been delayed to 2026. So in that case, it would just be on both lists. Kind of like the Game Awards most anticipated, where it's like, this is just generally speaking 5 to 6 games that are announced for this upcoming year. Maybe. And so yeah, so that's kind of the nuance there. So, and then I'm going to move this to the other screen so that way y'all can look at GameInformer.com /2026 for all the games that they have. Obviously, I mean, they don't even have like official release dates for everything in for all 12 months yet. So we'll go through and kind of just do a pass. And then I'm going to add things to my list over the side, and then we'll take a look at it again once we get through. If there are games that you see on here that you think I need to check out, call them out. And so I'm going to kind of open some stuff in new tabs as we go. So I think this game looked very interesting. It's not giving us any information on it, but like cool. But so we'll add that. I think that one did look cool. Let me go back here. Let's go Arc Knights Infield. So is a this is not what I thought it was. 3D real-time strategy RPG coming to PlayStation 5, PC, and mobile. I must be thinking of a different game. Or maybe this is one that I'm interested in. That name seems familiar, but for now I'm going to take it off. This might be one I need to go and watch a trailer for, because that's not the game I thought it was. Let's see. Dispatch. Shout out to Dispatch coming to Switch 2. I said I need to play that. Oh, Cairn. This is a game. This wasn't on the games I played this year because it was like a true demo that I played. But this is kind of similar to Jacent. I played a demo for it. It's a climbing game. This one is much more like actually puzzly. But I really enjoyed the demo. And so this is a game that like I don't know if I will buy, but I'm keeping an eye on for, especially if it was to hit PlayStation Plus or hit Epic, because I really liked that one from my time with it. Let's see. Neo as a series is one that I've always been interested into, but I have just never gotten there. What's Tides of Tomorrow? That's not what I was looking for. Shout out to the Resident Evil games. I'm happy for all of you. Those are not a Cameron, but I am happy for the people that are happy. And so, let's see. Pokemon Pokopia. This is a game. I'm adding this to the list kind of by like, I don't necessarily know if we're going to play this. Veroth, thank you for that lurk. But I am definitely interested in this game. Like, I don't have a Switch 2, so like I'm in no specific hurry to play this game. But like, if this game is good, I'm like kind of interested in like what it's gonna be. I'm always a fan of like Pokemon games being different for a game that has been or a genre or a game whose mainline games have been so consistent. Of like, I love the weird spin-offs of Pokemon. And if this is gonna be like I mean, like the main character for this game is horrifying. I would much rather this just be Power Worldy, where like you have your Pokemon and they help you. But the like being a Ditto, I think is super interesting. Let's see. Pragmata is definitely one that we are interested in. I really wanted to demo this at PAX West, but the line was insane. And so that did not happen. And so I downloaded the demo. Yeah, Lot calls out demo for it is out now. I have downloaded the demo on Steam because I think it went up after the Game Awards. I just have not gotten a chance to play it yet. And so I really want to try it out. Looking at these dates, you haven't checked it out yet yourself. Yeah, I'm very interested in. There's a good chance I do that. Like, probably not this week because of Christmas, but like like friends are coming into town. But like, there's a good chance that like I check this out the week after. And then it said Soros and the Lego Batman one. I have big ones for you. Yeah. Looking at the release dates, there's no way I'm getting Pragmata because I'm pretty likely going to be getting Soros. And so I loved Returnal. And so I'm excited to try out Soros and see what that's about. Here's that Batman. Let's see. Yeah, we're already in September. Yeah. Oh, maybe Phantom Blade Zero is the one I was thinking of. I think this game looked cool. It did not. It's because it's not supposed to be. So is an action RPG that features deep dark art style, fast-paced combat. I think there's world blending Chinese martial arts and steampunk. Yeah. So this is one I think this kind of falls in the Wulong category for me, where like now that game is on PS Plus, I'm going to check it out. But I'm keeping an eye on that one. Oh, yeah, and then there's November. Okay. Okay, so now we're kind of just into the random stuff category of like games that have loose like 2026 dates, but we don't have anything specific. Let me see. What is Agni? I'm trying to remember. No, that's not something that looks familiar. It does look interesting, but like that's not what I thought it was. Let's see. What's at Fate's End? I feel like this is one that was... Thunder Lotus Games. At Fate's End is a... Oh, yes. This game. Okay. Yeah, so this is definitely on the list. This like wasn't enough for me to get the vibe, but... shout out to Avatar Legends, the fighting game. Like, I'm going to add that to the list. This is in the category of like, there's no way I actually play this at launch, but like, I am like keeping an eye on it as someone who likes Avatar a lot and really wants this game to do well. And then if it does, I might try to like actually play it. Cause I've thought about this. I thought about this when we did our, I thought about doing like an Avatar set review, dressed as Aang, and ended up not doing that. But like, I think it'd be fun to do Avatar Legends in Aang cosplay, and so, but we'll see. Let's see. What is this? Bloodstained is another game that like I've kind of always been interested in those, but have just never played them. I think Ritual of the Night is on PlayStation Plus, and so I might check that out at some point. Let's see. Detopia is an interesting name. Let's see. Let's see. Dune Awakening coming to consoles is something I am interested in. I think that's going to fall into the same category as like the Avatar game, where like there is this doesn't even have a separate call out. Okay, that's not going on the list, but like this coming to console is very interesting to me just because it's a survival game that I would much rather play on console than on PC. And so like, again, I don't think I'm going to get it. Like you liked it well enough, but you have no desire to play it on console. I guess kind of will be the problem of like, I would need, happy for console games, don't get me wrong, but you could never. And that kind of would be the challenge of like, this would have to get like really good reviews of like, hey, this took a lot of what they had been doing on like PC and made it like great in a way that like would have to like connect. And then it's probably also a game that I would have to have people that wanted to play it with me. I'm putting Fable on the list. Just because that's a game that I'm interested in. I've never played a Fable, and so this kind of, I think, being like rebooty has me excited about checking it out, especially if my PC can run it. I mentioned Fire Emblem being my favorite Nintendo franchise. There's a decent chance that Fortune's Weave is what motivates me to finally get a Switch 2, but we'll see what that looks like. This War of Westeros game, I think, looked interesting. I think this is this what I think it is, or is this a different Game of Thrones game? This is a different Game of Thrones game. Okay. Okay, that one's not going on the list. I thought there was like an action-y Game of Thrones game, whereas this looks like this is a classic real-time strategy. And so this is a game, hey, I'm happy that people are happy. This feels like this would translate really well to the Game of Thrones IP, but that's not a me. Game of Thrones. Exactly, Varoth. Let's see. Halo Campaign Evolved coming to PlayStation 5, I think is so interesting as someone who missed the boat on that, having not had an Xbox. And so I played a lot of Halo 1 and 2 with friends, but never actually like owned the games. And so that's cool that that's coming to other consoles. Let's see. Chunk and I were talking about Lords of the Fallen in the TGA conversation that we were having. Here's again another game that like I don't know if I am going to actually play, especially since they've announced that it's going to be like $40. But I am kind of interested in at least keeping an eye on Marathon. And it's not, the lookup is not cooperating. Okay, it is just Marathon. I don't know why that is not come. Oh, there it is. Just in a weird spot. Okay, found it. We're good. Keep wanting to get back to it because for a Dune, you're so hyped for Wolverine. That brings us to Marvel Token Fighting Souls. Again, same vibe as the Avatar game of like, there's an extremely low chance I actually get this game and actually play this game. But if this was to have like a free to play weekend and like Locke, theoretically, we co-streamed games of it. Like, I would be interested in that. I don't know if I would play it more than just that time, but I yeah, shout out to this comment from Sneaky. As someone who doesn't know a lot about Dune Awakening, every once in a while, you also think about going back to it. You just don't want to have to pay the taxes. Like, the group that you play with all fell apart when the PC of the guild leader broke, and we all just took a break. And while they tried to fix it, it never went back. Understandable, yeah. Marvel's Wolverine is probably my most anticipated for next year. I am so excited for that game. I love the Insomniac Spider-Man games, and I'm so excited for them to try new characters. Mixtape. This kind of goes to Locke's question about, do I update this? I'm pretty sure Mixtape is on like the 2024, 2025, and now 2026 list. I'm super interested in what that game's going to be. Let's see. Yeah, here's like 1.0 release for Pal World. Pokemon Champions is going on the list. Again, I don't think I'm going to get this game, but I'm interested in it and seeing what it's going to be. The Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, I am very interested in as well. We're going to see if that game actually comes out, because it seems like at this point there's a very solid chance. Mixtape is Annapurna? I believe so, yes. Like says it could do some token, but it'd be the same. Yeah, loved Blaze Blue, but just don't have the fighting spirit. Yeah, I would need to be playing against people that like I knew. Like I have zero interest for token of actually going and just like battling on the ladder, but like playing against people that I know where we're having fun, trash talking, like all of that kind of stuff, I would be interested in. I think if Sands of Time 2026 actually comes out, I will be excited that it happens, but we'll see. What is Puppergeist? Is this no, this is not what I was thinking of. Let's see. Oh, Sayonara Wild Hearts is coming up Switch 2. Slay the Spire 2. Was this already out on something else? That'd be weird if it wasn't out on PC first, but no. Okay, we're interested in Slay the Spire. Oh, maybe it's out in early access. Maybe that's what it is. Professor Layton. And the New World of Steam. I've never played a Professor Layton game. That's something that, like, 1 year after the events of this game, due to yeah, so this looks like a whole new game. Yeah, I was checking. I wasn't sure if this was like a remake or something, but yeah, it looks like a whole new Professor Layton. They're all puzzle games. You really dig them? Yeah, I probably would really like them. I'd have just never actually played them. What's Star Wars Zero Company? Oh, yes. So this is I think this is the Star Wars XCOM. Yeah, turn-based tactics game. Yes, this is right up my alley. Love Star Wars, love tactics games. Give me a fun mix of those things, and we're going to have a good time. Let's see. Duskbloods is another game we're keeping an eye on, probably with no intent of actually picking it up, but we'll see how well it does. Wish it was up here, and Baby Locke would have been all over that. Today, Locke doesn't have the bandwidth or patience anymore. Understandable. I feel like that's the challenge of, like, especially difficult tactics games. of like, I remember doing XCOM 2 and it gave me like a little pop-up of like, hey, your character can do this. And so I did that and then it snowballed and I lost the match. Like lost the map on like that turn because I like followed the prompt of like, just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. And so we'll see how difficult it is. It's a different studio, so it's not like, I think, right? Bit Reactor isn't, no, this is their first, yeah. So it's, because Midnight Suns was the XCOM devs. I can't, Firaxis, there we go. I could not think of the team. And so, okay, let's see. I'm hyped that Tomb Raider is getting some comeback, that we got that at Game Awards. I'm interested in the new game that comes out in 2027. I don't think I'll play this one as like a remake of the original, but Voidright is not something that immediately comes to mind. Witchbrook is a game I'm very excited for. If I believe this is the one that the Rosen Pit one, which would discover spellbinding. Yes, this game I am so excited. Yeah, Chucklefish. I'm very interested in Witchbrook. This is another one that might have been on our 2025 list. And so, yeah, the Wargroove devs. That's what I would know. Stardew. They helped with some. I think the, yeah. Game developer and publisher. Yeah, so Witchbrook is one I'm super interested in. It seems like a very cool idea. I believe it's also co-op, and so it might be one that's fun to play with people. You might play the remake just because you weren't able to appreciate the original one. Understandable. Yeah, it's something that's like, I think I have all of like the modern Tomb Raider games, and I've just never gone back. We also 100% missed Control. I realized that like in the M's. That like just completely spaced and did not grab like another one of my like most anticipated games of the year. And so, yeah, just like a big oops there. And so, as soon as you missed it during the ad gel or when the stream, yeah, just complete mistake on my part. And so, oops, I gotta move this over here so it's in the right window. Okay, so here's what we have so far. We're save this. So we have Cairn, Pocopia, Pragmata, Soros, Phantom Blade Zero, At Fate's End, Avatar Legends, Control, Fabled, Fire Emblem, Marathon, Token, Wolverine, Mixtape, Champions, Prince of Persia, Slay the Spire 2, Star Wars Zero Company, The Dusk Bloods, and Witchbrook. Pretty solid list for us to kick off the year with. What are we at? We're at 20 games. And so we'll see how this shakes out and what of these we get to. And then some of that, of course, always like comes down to reviews, comes down to like what releases near other things. So like, as we were talking through, it's like, I'm excited for Pragmata, but like if Soros comes out right next to it, unless Soros gets horrible reviews, I'm not going to be playing Pragmata. Like, so we'll see how all of that shakes out. And then obviously like on here, there's a handful of Switch 2 games like Fire Emblem Fates Weave or Fortune's Weave that like I would be getting if I get a Switch 2, but like if I don't get one, same with Dusk Bloods, it's like, well, if I don't have a Switch 2, I'm not going to be getting these. And like, I'm in no hurry to get a Switch 2. So I might end up waiting even further and wait till like the mid-gen refresh of Switch 2 or something to get one. And so, but we'll see. But yeah, solid list to kick us off. And some really good games to look forward to for 2026. And so I think that is where we are going to be stopping the stream for today. Let's go back to our actual list for our favorite games of 2025 as we do our outro. And so this is our second to last stream of the year. And so I want to say general thank yous to everyone who has come and hung out, especially as with Lorcana being a more major thing in my life this year. That took and kind of knocked me out of a bunch of streams as we got towards the end of it, as I was like practicing and trying to do events and get ready for that. And so I want to say thank you to everyone who has come and hung out both here and over on First Geek. We do have one more stream here on Cameron+Deanna this year, and that will hopefully be next Sunday, where I will be doing something very similar to this, but I will be going through and creating a tier list of the 60-ish novels that I have read or done the audiobooks for this year. And so it'll be some very similar ideas, but with a ton of books instead of a ton of games. And so we'll see how many we actually get to, just because like I don't know the ratios of like I won't be including graphic novels on the I won't be including Marvel and DC graphic novels in the tier list. So things like that I have read will not be there. But I'm very excited to kind of go in and jump in and talk through. I am currently at 92 books total for the year. And so I'm very excited to go through and see what of those are novels that will rank. But we'll do that tier list. That'll be our closeout for 2025. And then hopefully be back like the next weekend with some sort of gameplay as we kick off 2026. Here at 6, hey, any number of books is a great amount of, for me, audiobooks are the big thing, and that's what gets me there. And so whatever works for you, as long as you are enjoying yourself and having some fun with it. And so I have one book in specific that I'm currently listening to the audiobook for that I really want to have done. I'm at 92 books so far. That includes graphic novels. And so we're going to, again, I want to get at least one of these books because it's a trilogy that's out so far, and this is book 3. And so I want to go and be able to talk about that one as part of this. So you can't listen while you work, so it severely limits your time. Otherwise, you'd be further. Yeah, very understandable. I am able to, depending on the book, and then like with my commute and getting books from the library, my commute makes it so that I can typically get through most audiobooks in the 2 weeks from the library. And so, but yeah, we'll be back for that. We're going to do the tier list a little differently this year in terms of the order that we do books in. Last year we did like by release, but series as a whole. This year is going to be a little different because I've already done like a mini tier list for some of the books that I read for one of my book clubs. And so we're going to kind of go through and adjust that. And so also, if you want to see me like completely reshuffle all the books that I read once we finish, because I'm very bad at putting everything in A or B tier. And so, and then we're going to also play, does Cameron remember this book? Because like I've gone through so many that like there's a lot of them I'm not sure I remember. So it's going to be a journey. Come back next week as we go through all of that. But again, thank you everyone who has come and been part of this or First Geek this year. I really appreciate you all. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday and a fantastic rest of your weekend. I'll catch everyone around in Discords. Bye.